there, welcome to Something Saturday. So today I thought I would show you this absolutely gorgeous paper and how you can make it up into some really quick and easy Christmas cards. So let me just show you in the catalogue what I'm actually going to be using. So the stamp set that I've used is this one here called Stars Are Shining bundle, which you can kind of see that I've got all over the place at the moment. So let's just take those off there. That's it. And yeah, all the bits. And the paper I'm using is this Peaceful Place. My goodness, those birds are loud outside. Peaceful Place papers, which are absolutely stunning. They've got smoky slate, basic grey, black and silver in them. And I'm also going to use a little bit of this absolutely gorgeous ribbon as well. It's called Glittered Organdy ribbon. So let's get going. If you think you know of anyone else who would enjoy these videos, then please do tag them into it or share the love, that sort of thing. We are going to start off, I believe, I'm looking at my little pile of cardstock that I've got up there with this one here. I have no idea which order I'm going to be doing it in, so I did kind of have an order, and obviously I've just gone ahead and put it out and forgotten about the fact that I had an order for it. So let's go with this one. So this is the first card that that I've got on my list of cards to do. I kind of, after I made these, I then went, oh, you know, I probably should have used ribbon on more of them. So there's a good chance that I'm actually going to do that now. However, what I'm going to do with this one, so I've actually written on the back of it what I've done so that I remembered. I have cut my designer series paper to 3.5 by 6 inches. So enter my cutter. 3.5. There we go. By 6 inches, so it should be 6 inches because I cut them all at 6 inches anyway. So that is what I've got there now. So each one's going to be slightly different, in theory. I'm just saying that and then going, oh no, these ones might actually be quite similar. However, there we go. So 6.5 inches, and then you cut it down to 5.5 inches. So whichever end you think won't matter. I'm going to take it off this end. So 5.5 inches. So basically you're going to cut half an inch off. So that little piece there, look at the silver on it. How cool is that? So, by the way, the back of it looks like that. Whoa. I know, right? Anyway, so yes, you're going to do that. And then you're going to cut off half an inch off the side. So then you decide, you look at the picture and you go, okay, I think half an inch off that side is going to be okay. So half an inch off there. And that is that. Kelly, did you see them? You asked me last week about the cutting blades for this, and I did reply to it, and I should have sent you a text message as well or something and said, but you can, so the blades themselves, if you have a little bit of WD-40, you can actually just wipe it over with WD-40 and it gives it a little bit of lift for a little while, but it's not a permanent fix. Permanent fix is to buy new blades, I'm afraid. So they come in a pack of 4 and it's $21. So anyway, yes, just thought I'd better mention that while I'm, I don't really want to get rid of that just yet. So then what I do, so I've cut, important to cut off the bottom part first, okay? So you cut off the bottom part, you take half an inch off there, and then you take half an inch off the side, and then you open up your card and you take 3/4 of an inch off one side. So 3/4 of an inch is there, and I'm gonna take that off there. So there we go, that's what I'm left with. And now I can put this away. So we've then got these pieces like this. I have actually used a little bit of my Cherry Cobbler colour and given this a bit of an edge just to make it stand out on my card. So that just means that I've taken the cardstock and literally just dunked it into my ink all the way along. And you know what? I actually plan to get a new ink pad because this one's getting a bit sorry for itself now. Plus the fact the style is actually now out of date too. So it is on my list of things to buy. So if anyone wants to buy anything, it would probably encourage me to actually go ahead and buy it. If you're close to me and you're ordering and it comes to me, that is. All right, let me just dunk this side into here. So that's the other thing I've done, is just given that part there an edge, just because otherwise it tended to blend in. So I'm just gonna let that dry off for a sec, and we're gonna find a bit of cardstock to stamp that Joy to the World on. Excuse the rustling. There's a little bit of cardstock. I have a whole heap of different bits of cardstock sort of hanging around that then I can just use when I need a little bit of cardstock. You know what I'm going to do? Just grab a... come here. Grab a very reluctant piece of paper. Hang on a minute. Oh, wow. Okay. So the reason I've grabbed this is because I don't actually want to mark the really pretty piece that's underneath. It's so pretty. And I am just going to stamp Joy to the World on there. And then I'm going to grab my punch and hope that it's going to fit. Oh, look at that. Thank goodness. I did stamp it far enough up. Might just move that over to one side actually for the time being. So the only thing with using like a red on the photopolymer stamps is that it does tend to stain it. So if you don't want it too stained, give it a bit of a clean off as soon as you've used it. And it does take some of that stain off, but repeatedly it's actually just going to end up red. So you can kind of see that it's not quite as red as it was, but it's still kind of pink. So pretty, it's pink. Okay, so I'm going to pop that into there, and it doesn't work the other way round, by the way. Hang on, just want to make sure that's going to be straight. There it is. Let's get rid of that. So that's my Joy to the World. Let's get rid of that. Look, I'm wearing a different jumper today. How exciting. Not wearing my purple one. Yeah, see, I do get changed every so often. Okay. So just rolling my little saying there also in this Cherry Cobbler. And hoping that I don't have Cherry Cobbler all over my fingers, just inspecting that, because Cherry Cobbler has a tendency to kind of get everywhere. I'm just going to make sure. That's better. And I'm just going to do the same with this one, just to get rid of any excess red. Because, as I say, Cherry Cobbler actually does have a tendency to sort of stay, yeah, I don't know whether it stays wet or what it does, but it sort of, the colour sort of stays and then moves around every so often. If you haven't waited for it to fully dry, that is. Okay, so let's just stick it to my finger and potentially stick it onto the card instead of my finger. There we go. So there's that part. Now with this little section here, the reason that we cut off this one is so that we can put it onto there. So we shall do that. And the idea is that you kind of aim for it on the same level as that, because if you do that, then it's actually going to be on the same level when it gets up to the top, which would be excellent. There we go. Oh, good job, Heather. Thanks very much, Heather. Now, I usually like to just use up this little piece just on the back of the card to well, give the card a bit of interest on the back or something. There we go. And then we have our Joy to the World, and you really have to decide. So like I wouldn't put it there because then it's going to cover over that little house. So let me grab my... Still haven't found the lid to this. I don't know where it's gone to. It's probably hiding on the floor somewhere by now. So let's just pop those on. I'll just give it 4 little ones on there, I think. 1, oops, 2, 3. Does anyone else do that? I have this tendency when I'm doing something just to be counting in my head as I do it. And I always think maybe I'm a bit weird with doing that, but I'm just wondering if anyone else does that. So let me know in the comments if you do that too. And I think about there would be lovely. We will Joy to the World about there. And so then that's the first card done. So there we go. They are very slightly different, see? Just, yeah, that house is up there and so on. Yeah, anyway, you get the drift. So the next one I have got is that one. So let's find the one that goes with that. No, no, no. Yes. Okay, so this one looks a little different because when you get this particular cardstock, it actually has 4 of these. So they come as 12 by 12. So you get 4 of those. And what I've done is I've just cut it in half. So therefore I have a 3" by 6" piece here, and I'm going to be using it on here, and I have cut my piece down to 5.5. So again, I've cut a half an inch off, and again I've layered it onto the back there. However, where do I want my 1/2 inch to come out of? I think I want it out of the bottom of this one. I took it out of the top of the other one, I think. Can't actually remember now. Okay, however, let's just go for it. So 1/2 inch. Oh, look at that, there it is. And so that piece is going to sit nicely onto there. And obviously that piece is going to go onto the back, but it's obviously not going to work if I shove Celebrate the Wonder down there because it's going to get completely camouflaged. So I'm wondering about putting it up here. Or I could just have something different. I could have the stars are brightly shining, Joy to the World. I still like Celebrate the Wonder. So we're going to pop that down. Did you know with a photopolymer stamp that you can curl it? So potentially if I wanted to, I could do that with it and have Celebrate the Wonder like that. In fact, that might be kind of cool. I'm going to do that, you know. I like that. Okay, so I have chosen to use the Stays on Black with this particular one. Partly because I'm using Stays on Black with another one too. So let's just check it out and see. Oh, I reckon I'm quite happy with that. Okay, just going to make sure that's dry before I go ahead and stamp it. So we're just going to pop it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put this underneath it so that I can actually see where the end of the cardstock is, because I don't want to Celebrate the Wonder and then have the wonder disappearing off the top. There we go. Told you I was going to do all these slightly differently. So let's just pop that up there. Just give that a bit of a clean off. So when it comes to the reds and the Stays On, I actually do give this a good rub. When it comes to the other colours, I literally just dunk it like that and it takes the colour out. But because I I don't really want the stays on and the red colours to particularly stain my stamp too vigorously. Yeah, I like that. That's a relief, isn't it? So we can just take that back off and shove it over there. So what I was going to tell you with this is, because of the fact that they will, they'll curve and things, the best way to actually get your stamp onto the block so that it's straight is just to allow it to sit and then pick it up with your block, rather than trying to lay it onto your block yourself, because otherwise you might end up with it sort of all skew-if. That's what I was going to tell you, and then it turned out to being, oh, I quite like that, and I'll have it that way round instead. That's not going to work. Let's just try that again. So if you're using the stamping seal, don't forget you start off with it on quite an angle like that, and then you get to the end and you pull it off that way so that it ends up with a sticky end to it. And gonna pop that onto there. So then we're gonna pop a little bit of this gorgeous ribbon down the side. Look at it shine. It's so pretty. Anyway, I am like a goldfish, you know. I'll keep looking at that sort of thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a little bit of the tear and tape adhesive onto the end here, so that I can, not that way round, pop that onto there like that, and then I want to wrap it round here. Let's trim it off about there and grab a little bit more of my tear and tape adhesive. Thing is that you don't want the tear and tape adhesive to be on here, because it's probably going, I haven't actually tried it, but I think it would show through this ribbon because it's such a sheer ribbon. So, oops. Pop that onto there and peel off. Just make sure when you're doing this that, actually it won't matter because that's going to be, it won't show anyway. Forget what I was going to say there. So, so then just pop that down onto there like that so that it's nice and straight. And then you're going to be saying, but Heather, you've got a knot in that one. You're right, I have. And I'm going to show you how to do it too. So, it was actually, this is really cool because when you do the knot in it, it actually lies nice and flat, as opposed to when you take your ribbon and you try and knot it and then it just doesn't lie flat at all. So, let's just see whether I can do what I did earlier. Oh goodness me, I feel like I'm being really cat-handed with this now. There we go, that's better. So I think, yep, just gonna pull that nice and tight. Trim that piece. Trim that piece. And there you go, it looks like you've knotted your ribbon. And that can now sit onto there. So I'm just gonna add a bit of, oh goodness. I'm also gonna just add a little bit of Tombow adhesive into this corner, because I did notice with my other one that the ribbon didn't set so well with just putting the this over top of it, the stamping seal over top of it. There we go. Let's hold that down. So isn't it stunning? I just think that, wow. You know, the combination of the paper and the ribbon is just beautiful. Okie dokie. Let's, oh, let's stick that onto the back. Don't want to forget about that bit. Oh, I think I might have come to the end of my, oh, I have. Oh, well, chuck that bit out. Haven't got another one of those with me at the moment. So you can buy inserts for those, which is very handy. It just means that you keep the shell casing, as it were, and you put a new insert in and you go for it. But kind of have to have the inserts handy when I'm doing a video. As it is, I just happen to have a spare one handy, which is also kind of looking slightly low, but that's fine. Hopefully it'll last out for the video. Okay, done. Let's move on to the next card, which is, by the look of it, this one here. So again, I've cut my Smoky Slate cardstock. I don't know whether I told you this with the other cards, but I cut it to 14.5 by 10. So it just gives you a little bit of a border all the way round. And then, what was I going to do with this one? Oh, I was going to try something a little bit different with this one. Oh, imagine that. Okay. Then the designer series paper I have cut to 6 inches by 9.5 centimeters. Just to be awkward, I'm going to be in centimeters and inches with this one. So 9.5 centimeters, because I know that's going to fit nicely and give me a 2.5 millimeter gap all the way round. And then I'm going to cut off 1/2 inch. I'm going to cut the 1/2 inch off the top this time. I actually cut it off the bottom last time. So there's that. And that should now fit nicely onto there, which it does. Beautiful. And I've got my spare bit of cardstock, a spare bit of designer series paper, so let's put that over there. I did want to see whether I could somehow add in a little bit of ribbon into this as well, because I was thinking it would look really pretty if it had like a little bit of ribbon going along the bottom there up. Right, what we'll do is we'll stamp it first. So we've got Celebrate the Wonder as the saying on this one. Oh, which is actually the same saying as we just used on the last one. Good job, Heather. All right, Celebrate the Wonder. Let's grab out our cherry cobbler. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use cherry cobbler with this one. I'm going to go the StazOn. I've done it again. I'm going to have to re-ink. So StazOn does dry really fast, which is why I'm having to re-ink in between. And then just aim for that in the middle center. Oh, it worked. Excellent. I know, I shouldn't be so surprised, but you know, it's funny because when you're doing it on this sort of angle, it's kind of like quite a surprise when it works. If you don't mind me saying so. It's sort of like, oh, jolly good. That actually worked. And I wasn't looking right over top of it like I normally would and showing you the back of my head. Okay. So we are going to Celebrate the Wonder. Now that should be exactly the same size as this because we cut it off the top there. Oh goodness, come back. Sometimes it's handy having boobs. Catch all the bits that go down the wrong way. Oops. All right, let's pop that. And oh, I know what this is. Okay, so in case you end up with a stubborn one of these that decides that it's going to go back on itself, all you need to do is actually lift it like that and roll it back on yourself. I don't know why some of them seem to do it, some of them don't. It's a bit of a nuisance when it suddenly happens and you're in the middle of, oh, sticking something to the outside of it. However, there's that. Oh goodness, don't stick just down yet. Hopefully that's about right. It is. I'm just going to move on to using my Tombow because obviously that one's going to be awkward. And that's going to annoy me having to try and do that in the middle of a video. As I say, it's funny because sometimes you end up with them and they're so easy to use and sometimes they just are really awkward. Oh. Okay, if you choose to use the Tombow with it, don't press the Tombow too hard because otherwise you end up with lines on the back of your card. I now have little lines going through my Christmas trees. Whoops. Okay, I'm hoping that that's... Oh, that's not going to work. Hoping that's just going to, you know, adjust itself given a bit of time. Now, where's my Celebrate the Wonder? So what I was thinking of doing was just going like that, up and down. Yeah, I reckon that'll look really cool. So I'm going to use a bit of my Tear and Tape adhesive on the back of this one then. Just so that I can get the ribbon to attach to it. Oh, get my tongue in the right position to get that piece off, I can tell you that. All right. So let's just... That's gonna just stick to me. I can see this. So all I'm doing is just concertinaing it on the back there. So you can see that there. Oh goodness. I just think this will look quite pretty on the back of this. A little bit different. There we go. Yay. Yeah. Okay, so then what I reckon I'm going to use is... how much do I need? So this is just the edge of one of my mini dimensional sheets. But it's good because you can use all of your dimensional sheets. And that's kind of what I need for this, is just something that's going to go all the way along. And we're going to go from one side and hopefully it is level. Yeah. Ooh. Yes, I'm quite happy now that I've added that on, actually. Much happier with it. So there's that card. Let's move on to the next one. So we're on the downward bit now. So we've got 3 cards done. We're on to card number 4. So card number 4 is, so that is the card stock. It's either that or that. And I've actually chosen to use it back to back. So with this particular one, I have cut my designer series paper to 3.5 centimeters by 3.5 inches, sorry, by 14.5 centimeters. 3.5 centimeters wouldn't be big enough. And then 3 inches by 5 inches. So I need to trim this one down to 14.5 centimeters. So let's go 14.5. Let's take that little piece off and that can go onto the back of my card. So that will be perfect for that. That will be perfect for that. And that, as I say, can sit on the back of my card. And then we can be merry and bright. So let's just... we're going to do the Merry and Bright first, just in case it doesn't work out. Merry and Bright, where are you? Oh, okay, that one actually was still hiding inside the box. That's quite amazing. Where's my, there it is. Be merry and bright. So I'm gonna ink up my Merry and Bright and stamp it nice and near the bottom and hopefully level. That was impressive. I'm also going to bring this paper over because I don't really want to stamp onto my special stamping mat. Ooh. Oh, well, there you go. Merry and Bright is going to be just a little bit up and down. Give that a quick clean again. Excuse the All right, we are merry and bright. Are you merry and bright? Okay, so then we can move that out the way. This into here. I am going to aim not to press too hard with this time. Yeah, that was better. The good thing with the Tombow, of course, is that you do have a little bit of wiggle room with it, whereas with the this one, whatever this one's called, that's really good. Stamping seal, you don't actually have wiggle room, so once you've stuck it, it's down, which can be a bit of a pain sometimes. Does anyone else have this problem? The cardstock where you're working, or the scrap card where you're working, always seems to curl up in the corners. I don't know whether it's just me or whether that's a common problem. So let me know in the chat if your cards, you know, your underneath card tends to curl up in the corners or not when you're working. So, ooh, got something nice and sticky on there. Get rid of that presently. Okay, and one last piece to go on there and something sticky on there, so let's just do that. Good point. I don't know what I've done with my silicone mat. Normally I'd be using that. I think it's all in my my classroom after the class the other day that I did. Where I had everything packed up and we did the Christmas cards down at the Lanarkshire Hall, which incidentally worked out really nicely. I was impressed with the hall. So I'm hoping that the next big day that I do, I'll be able to use there again. There we go. We are merry and bright with lots of little trees. So that's that one. Let's move on to the next one. Gee, we're just rushing through these cards, aren't we? So this one is The Stars Are Shining Brightly. Aren't they beautiful, these little, they're just the normal rhinestones. There's the word I'm after for it. Okie dokes. So this particular one uses 10 by 14.5 centimetre piece of smoky slate. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to stamp it with smoky slate as well. So, where's my smoky slate gone to? There's my smoky slate. Obviously, I haven't updated that ink pad either. And I'm using this little conglomeration of stars, which is part of The Stars Are Shining Brightly thingo? Stamp set, not thingo. Good. Glad everyone knew what I meant there. And I'm literally just going to go round the edges of this. Just like that. If there's any places that you think need a bit more, then just add them in. That's looking pretty good. I like that. Happy with that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. And the other stamped piece in this is my little piece of vellum, which measures 2.5 by 9 centimeters. And with vellum, you can use colour, but it will rub off. So potentially if you get the colour wet, it's going to just come straight off again. So I've used the StazOn Black for this again. And we want to say the stars are brightly shining, because I thought that was really appropriate. It's either Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which, you know, there's lots of stars. So I figured the stars are brightly shining is a really good saying for this one. Let's just grab my mat. Pop my mat down there. Ink up. And I'm going to have to shove my head in the way to be able to see this one. Terribly sorry, folks. Feel like one of those trucks that has, you know, how's my driving on the back of it. So maybe I should put on the back of my head, how's my stamping? Okay, let's give that a clean off. Leave that to dry. So we've got all our stamping done on this one, and we need to cut the designer series paper. So I've cut it by 6 inches, which is what this is, and then down to 3 inches, I believe. Yes, PSP 3 inches. So let's just slide it on in there, get it to that 3 inches, make sure it's all completely up against the edge there, and slide that piece off. Beautiful. Now there is one more thing that you need to do to this, and that is to score 1 centimetre on both of these edges. So 1 centimetre there, and you just grab the score tool. This one's cutting, this one's scoring. Aim not to cut it, but it won't actually matter if you do, because you can actually you can stick it back down. It doesn't matter, because all we're going to do with this is just fold it over. So fold over that way, fold over that way, and pop that down there. Then we're going to stick it. I would say lick it and stick it, but I really don't think you should do that, because it really wouldn't taste very good, especially this glue. And then you might... Okay, now my imagination's going wild, and I'm going, lick it and stick it. Then you wouldn't be able to talk. Oh my goodness, how much fun can you have on your own? Right. Okay, moving on, Heather. Good job. So this piece then now sits straight down on your card. Oops. Down edge. My goodness. And let's pop that down there. You know, I'm leaving the complicated card for last, don't you? Yeah, it's true. And then I'm just gonna hold it down with my arm. That's not gonna work because I need to use my arm. Okie dokie. So then that can sit like that. Fabulous. I wonder if that's dry yet. Oh yes, look at that. Excellent. What I don't have is my blingy stuff. It'd be nice with those on it. Ooh, that might look nice. Okay, so anyway, to pop vellum down, I've actually used my mini glue dots. So you can tell this pack's open. there you go. It's because when you get the vellum glue dots, they all come like they're kind of open. So so once I've opened a pack, I actually put a open on it so that I know it's open, and I try and put like a little bit of sellotape or something over the packs that aren't open. That way I know what's what, really. I'm gonna ring the changes and put this up the top this time. Oh, and I was going to add some ribbon. Never mind. No ribbon with this one. We're going to just go the blue adhesive back to gems instead. So you can see that the mini glue dots do actually show through the vellum, which is why there is a need to have some sort of something over top like that. So, you know, embellishments are great for covering up things. There we go. And I have to say, these are one of my favourites. They're absolutely gorgeous, and the other ones are slightly lighter. I prefer this colour personally. Just the way that I am. And I think that goes nicely with the grey, actually. Feel like it's on a wonk. Anyway, we won't go too far into that. We'll just move it on and go on to the last card. So the last card. Right, we are definitely ringing the changes with this card because I wasn't too impressed with the, well, I wasn't too impressed with the fact that I added the Wink of Stella. So I'm hoping you can actually see this. It does look pretty on it, but it's just not what I was hoping for when I added it. So I've decided I'm going to change it round, and I'm going to do the grey in the foreground and the black in the background. And I'm going to use a different die. So this one was done with using the diorama dies. And I am going to use the stitched rectangle dies instead, because I can. So let's just move everything off to one side because we need to bring in the thing out. So what I want to do though is I do want it so that they end up cutting out. So I don't know if you can see this. So I've had it so that it's sort of, in theory, it was supposed to have a border going all the way round, but the grey didn't really work properly with the border on this side, so I wasn't overly happy with the way it turned out. So I've revamped my idea and rethought it, and I have a plan. Maybe, if I can get some glue out, I have a plan. All right, I'm just going to smudge that glue in because I want to be able to reposition this. Right, let us put that one down onto there. So the reason for this is because I really want this to cut in exactly the same place on both of them. So, bring it in, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Let's just move that out to one side. And at this point I have to stand up for the operation, so probably my voice has got a lot closer. I'm going to aim to do this slightly up so that I've got room for my sentiment down the bottom. Oh. Hopefully, all being well, this has cut both of them, but if it hasn't, that doesn't matter, it's only cut one. Okay, so that's fine though, because I now know that I can take that grey piece off, and that one's not going to come off properly, but that's fine. And I know that I can now put this piece back on and it will end up in the same position. So just that, and run it through again. sorry, just hit you there. Okay. So there's a reason for cutting it like that, as I say, is because I actually really wanted it to do that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the larger one to cut this die. No, to cut this bit of paper. The larger die to cut this bit. I know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you do too. I'm sure Lindy's going, oh, Heather, get your words right. Bless her. She was telling me the other day that that I often say something about, oh, you know, and if we had a blah, 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 and then I can't remember the name of it. And she's going, it's a such and such, Heather. So I think that's quite amusing, because I do the same sort of thing to other people too. So, you know, got to be done. All right. So now I've ended up with this spare piece and this spare piece. So potentially I could use those on another project. And they're kind of cool like that, actually. So I'm just going to put them over there because they'll get used some other time. And I have used those two. And then that should now go with that, and I'm hoping that I can just scratch off those little bits of grey, light grey on there. Yes, excellent. Oh, I'm liking that. Okay, good. Where's the rest of it? Oh, here we go. Okay. So then what I want to do is I actually want to add my tree in behind this somehow. What do I fancy having? I actually want that one there. That's typical, isn't it? Right. Well, good. Let's just see what size this is, shall we? See whether I can get away with sort of just suddenly cutting out the middle section. Right, let's see. What size have we got? We've got it at about 8.5. You know what? I reckon I should be fine to take that piece and use it somewhere else. And then I want that piece there, so I'm just going to take that piece there and use it somewhere else as well. That's what I want. Not that I'm going to be fussy or anything like that, but that's the piece that I want. All right, now we're going to have to trim that down. So let's take off some of what's on the back there. I'm just going to use this just to guide myself on it, really. Whoops. Take that bit off. Okay, so it's about probably about 1/2 inch that I'm taking off, to be perfectly honest. All right. I'm hoping this card is actually making sense to you, the way that I'm doing it. So what I then want to do is I want to pop that in behind there. Then I want to add this one onto the front, and then I'm going to work out my saying after that. So let's go with nope. Just add a little bit of my glue just around the edges of this one. That would be good if I had it the right way up too, really, wouldn't it? Excellent. So that's that one in place. Yep. And the next one goes that way up. Let's pop this in place. Oh, whoops. That was really silly. Okay, so learn from me. When you're gluing, don't have your work right underneath you as you're gluing it. That's nice. I'm happy with that. Then this can now go onto my card. down onto there, hopefully with a similar sort of gap all the way around. Oh, I have no idea what the time is. I've just realised that I'm not wearing my watch or anything. This piece here I'm going to add to the back. Maybe. There it is. Going to pop that onto the back there. And Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. That was the one that I wanted to use on this particular one. So that one is hiding in the box. What's in the box? Well, funny you should mention that. There's stamps in the box. Who would have known? Apparently I didn't clean this one off either, so let's give that a quick... There we go. And Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. So I'm wondering whether Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star will actually fit onto there or not. I don't think it will. So there was one more thing that I actually got out, which was this here, because I thought that what I could do is cut it. I don't really want to use the whole thing, I don't think, but let's just see. Of course that's not going to fit. You know what? I'm just going to cut it out of the middle of this one. Okay, I'll be back in just a... No, I'm going to stamp first. And I'm going to stamp with the black rather than with the red. I'm really quite liking the way that it comes out with the black. So Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. There it is. We are going to I'm just going to cut this off screen because you've already seen me cut the other one, so I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm doing by now. Might actually keep it that size. I was going to try and make it a wee bit smaller, but I quite like it. Oh, move along. There it is, got it in the right position, hopefully. Yeah, I actually quite like that. Okay, I'm going to keep it that size. What I was planning on doing was I was actually going to reduce the size of it because I know that I can just line up sort of the holes that are along here and just recut the end of it. But I'm actually really happy with the way that it is. So I'm not going to do what I was going to do. Let's add some of these in. Oh. 1, 2. I don't know why I'm using that. Oops. Okay. Ah, come on, we can do this. We're on our last card, Heather. There. And I'm going to pop that there like that. And we have Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. And I was actually planning on using a bit more of that ribbon, but I haven't ended up doing so. Never mind. Ribbon will still be there for another day. So yeah, I'm way happier with that than I was with that, to be perfectly honest. Let me know what you think. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the wiggledy-piggledy one, or do you prefer the nice straight cut one? And what I'll do is I will pop a blog post up with the dimensionals and dimensions even for it all, so that, oof, gee, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit all these onto here. Well, yes, there we go. Those two are sufficiently similar. Those two are sufficiently similar. Those two are. And yeah, there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you inspiration, and do come back and join me again next week. see you then. Thanks. Bye.